Yes, please put your hands together for Casey Neistat. Oh, he's filming. Have fun.
Hey guys. Thanks for coming. Nice shirt. Nice shirt. It's a nice shirt. How many creators here? Okay, good. I was hoping there'd be a lot of creators here. Let me give you guys a super brief, hyper-abbreviated bio, just so we're all on the same page. I had a really tough childhood. I was in trouble all the time. I always got kicked out of high school. It was rough. And then when I was 18, 19 years old, I had a computer and a video camera. And I made like a little video. And all of a sudden, I felt like this sense of relief, as if I had now a means of sharing my ideas that was actually tangible, that was something more than just me being a crazy person. And that was like a really liberating feeling for me. And then I got really into that, and I committed to that, and I started making all of these movies. And there was no place to put them then. So I would put them in, I'd call them fine art, and I would put them in art museums, and I would put them in art galleries, and that sort of worked. And then internet connections got a little bit better, and I started putting them on the internet, but way before YouTube. I had a viral movie in 2003, 3 years before YouTube launched, that did like 6 million views in a couple of weeks, and the only way you could share it, because there was no social media, the only way to share it was literally by email. Can you imagine? And I love that. I love the process. I love the ability to share. And then I got into TV because of the success of these little internet movies, and I worked in small-time TV and then big-time TV. And then I had my own show that I wrote, directed, and edited, and starred in, made just like you guys make your videos, except for it was on HBO. It was on like the king. It was at the top of the mountain, and that was such a success. I was like, well, I want to make movies now, like real movies. So I started making feature films, and the last feature film I produced, was premiered in the Cannes Film Festival, like the most prestigious film festival in the world, and then was in movie theaters. And right around the time that movie was in theaters, it was the same time that my show premiered on HBO. And I remember I would say the feeling was like one of frustration, one of like, it didn't feel right. And that was the height of like mainstream success. Like, what more could you ever want? But I left feeling very frustrated. And I had this sort of existential crisis, this like looking inward, like, what is this anxiety? What is the source of this? And I realized this, and this is true for everyone here. If you're a creator, if you're a YouTuber, if you're a filmmaker, an artist, whatever label you want to attach to it, what you are is you're someone who believes in your perspectives and you believe in your ideas so much that you think they deserve to be shared. And I think that's a pretty profound understanding. And that is absolutely the reason why I felt so good when I was a troubled teenager and making these little videos, because now I could share my ideas. But in mainstream, like in features and in television, there are all of these steps between your ideas and then your audience. Like that HBO show, which I like to tell people about, because they're like, wow, this guy's big time, HBO. The reality of it was pretty far from that. From the moment of making those videos that turned into a TV show that was an HBO show, to the moment that the audience got to see that, was 3 years. It was 3 years of like politicking and nonsense and new heads of programming that thought it belonged, and it should have been paired with this and paired with that, and it goes with this and it goes with that. We don't have the right time slot for you, and this new person doesn't like it, so she moved it here. And then it premiered at midnight on Friday nights. Imagine if your YouTube videos could only be watched at midnight on Friday nights. And it was the same with making a feature. Like, that was in movie theaters. And what it took to get into movie theaters was years, and like money, and all these crazy resources, and nepotism, and all this nonsense. So it could be in like a couple of theaters that like a few hundred people could sit down and watch. And as creators, if all that matters, if our only driving force is this desire to share perspectives and share ideas, then the only quantifier of success is how many people are you able to reach? How easily are you able to reach them? What is required between you, your ideas, and them reaching with an audience? And that's why I turned to the internet. That's why, at the height of mainstream success, I was like, I'm out of here, and I went to YouTube. And all these sort of big people and Hollywood like agents and people around me are like, are you fucking nuts? You don't do that. YouTube is for kids. But it felt right to me because there were no bureaucratic filters there. When it comes to the internet, I make something that's my idea, I share it, and it's out there. I had these ideas, I turned them into an HBO show, this huge success. It was 3 years between the idea and the audience. And like, I just opened up, as I was standing backstage, my YouTube Studio app, or whatever it's called, and I look at the video that I posted 5 hours and 2 minutes ago, and it's been seen by 120,000 people. Like, how many movie theaters of people is that? So with that, I look at it, and I'm here. I've never been to VidCon before. Actually, honestly, I don't know if they've ever invited me to VidCon before. I've never been to VidCon before, and I was really taken aback by, one, the size of the audience, and by the screaming fangirls, thank you, and all of the chaos that's here. But what really blew me away is the sense of community, the sense of excitement, all of this energy that's surrounding this event. And I met with, I'm going to pick on them for a minute, but I met with MTV a week ago, and we were talking ideas about how we might work together and stuff. And they brought up how, whatever it was, 10, 15 years ago, kids used to stand outside of 1515 Times Square, where MTV's headquarters is, and they would scream like this to try to get on TRL. And I remember that from my childhood, like that was it, that was the big deal. And now that same age group, those same people, that demographic, that group, they're standing outside the hotel here, they're standing outside the Hilton. Those are kids that stand outside my office every day. These are like, that is how it has changed. And the conclusion there, what all of this means, and I can say this from a position of authority because I've seen the other side, is that YouTube, the internet, all of this is not a stepping stone to something bigger. This is not the journey to a destination. YouTube, the internet is the destination. This is mainstream. Like YouTubers, internet creators, we dictate culture. Like, we affect culture. Musicians, like I looked at this morning, these 2 young kids, Jack and Jack, maybe there's some fangirls here who know who they are. Their album is #1 right now. It's at the top of the charts. And they don't have a label. It's because they leveraged the power of the internet. It's because they leveraged something that was uniquely, it was accessible by all. The internet is like, it's not beholden to nepotism. Like, how many people are like, oh, he's successful on YouTube. YouTube's all about who you know. It's not. It's the antithesis of that. And YouTube doesn't give a shit who you know. The internet is one thing, and that one thing is, it's a meritocracy. If you have ideas that you want to share, they will find an audience. And I wanted to wrap this up by just saying how much that premise of sharing ideas and sharing perspectives has affected me. And having young people come up to me and tell me how much my work affects them and what that means to me, and the profundity that is that. And me being shaped by other people and how the internet empowers us all to do this. And that's why I've dedicated everything I am now. Like, my whole life, looking forward, my whole career now is focused on one thing. And that is creating something that enables others to share their ideas and perspectives the way that I have. And I wanted to not come up here and shill my new social network Beam, but just talk about the reason why I did that. I was at an absolute position of success, doing crazy branded content deals and having so much fun just doing this. And I took yet another step back in my career for the first time in a long time, and I said, why? Why am I doing this? Why does this matter? And I came back to the power of sharing perspective and what that has meant to me, has transformed my entire life. And I thought, well, what is the graduation of this? Just making YouTube videos is not enough. What is more? And the idea, the thought of being able to empower others, I can't think of something that's more exciting for me. And that is our ambition with that, and that's why so much of my focus and so much of the subject matter of all my YouTube videos is about just that. It's sure, it's hung up on this company that I've built, but it's the idea behind it and the power of sharing ideas and perspectives, which is what every person who's up here before me talked about today. That's it, guys. Thanks for coming out.
Thank you, Casey.